So something happened this week. Oh, by the way, can you hear that squeaking? I don't know if you can or not, but you may have noticed that I'm back to driving the Honda Element. And it's because it's developed this squeak. And the funny thing about it is it happens almost all the time. But I can't duplicate it if the car is not moving, because I don't have enough weight or strength to move the car enough to make it happen, and so I can't isolate it so that I can figure out where it is and either tighten something up or lubricate something. And anyway, but that's why Cindy's not driving it, because it drives her crazy, that squeaking noise. And whereas I think it's quite funny, I think it just makes me think of an old pickup truck. All right, so anyway, something happened this week. It just made me think about how things in my lifetime have changed. Things that seemed perfectly acceptable at the time, but looking back on it now, we're not. I mean, this is not part of my video, but I was thinking about, I think this is what reminded me. I saw something on a show where they were talking about people playing with yard darts. And I remember thinking that we didn't have any, but those were the coolest thing in the world. And you might remember, or for those of you who had never heard of them, yard darts were exactly what they sound like. They were big darts, and they were fairly heavy. I mean, I'm sure they weighed a half a pound each. But it was just a big knife with not feathers, but you know what I mean, the thing that make a dart go straight. Maybe they are feathers. Anyway, so there were things like that were just so ridiculously dangerous. Looking back at it now, you can't believe that they ever got away with selling them. Anyway, so when I was about 5 or 6 years old, oh my God, and I hope I haven't told this story before, but when I was 5 or 6 years old, I spent some time with my grandmother and grandfather, Big Daddy and Jane. And for some reason or other, I think I was there by myself. I don't think Joel was there. But Big Daddy had this MG. I think it was a 1963 MG B. I think it was an MG-B. So if you look this up, you can look it up just so that you can see what it's like. But basically, it's a sports car. It's a British sports car, low to the ground, convertible, 2-seater. And he had this car. So this one day that I'm spending with them, he has to get a haircut in Glencoe. So he asked me if I want to go with him and take the MG, and say sure. So here's the part that is that probably, if this happened today and somebody saw it, they probably would have Cindy come in to visit their house as a social worker, because this drive to Glencoe from their house was probably 2 or 3 miles, but it was on a busy road, like a 4-lane highway, and I'm sure the speed limit was probably 45. All that being said, sorry, there's coming with a big oversized trailer load. I'm going to pull over here to the side of the road and give them some room. Maybe I'll just drive up the edge of the ditch. Not too bashful to do that. But anyway, so as I remember it, this entire trip, I stood up in the passenger seat of the car and held onto the windshield. I mean, thinking about it now, as you can see, I'm speechless about this, how dangerous that was. And one thing I remember very clearly is while Big Daddy was getting his haircut, I was sitting in the thing, and one of the barbers had I think, oddly enough, walked over to the Big Chief, I think, to get lunch. And on his way back, he looked inside the MG, and he reached in, and I remember this very distinctly, he reached in and he was dusting the dirt or mud or sand or whatever it was off the passenger seat where I had stood up for this trip. And what was funny about that is that was, when he came in, that was the only comment he had to make, was that it was that weird that the seat was dirty. Not that there was a 5 or 6 year old kid standing up in the seat. Anyway, okay, thanks for watching. Love you.